Hey guys, we're very informal today. So the video that you're about to watch is not reborn related, and I wanted to just jump on and explain it before it started so that if you're not interested or are even bothered by it, that you can close the video out. But this video, I happened to be in the right area today to be about 2 miles away from the site where John Wayne Gacy's house used to stand. John Wayne Gacy was a serial killer here in the Chicago suburbs, and he is no longer living, but most people have heard of his name, but he wreaked a lot of havoc. But anyway, it was literally on my way home today, so I stopped by, and so this video is like in the moment as it's happening, and it's jostly. I'm driving, the camera's falling over, you know, you're warned that it's, you know, not polished or shiny or anything, but we're here just to give you that intro, and then I'm going to hop back on afterwards and talk a little bit about why and my thoughts on it. Okay, be right back. You guys, I was in Park Ridge, Illinois, which is near Chicago and right by Des Plaines, and literally, so I stopped at a Whole Foods, and I was 2 miles from where John Wayne Gacy used to live. So it's actually on the way home for me to go, and the destination is half a mile from here. Now his house isn't there anymore, they tore it down. I think they built something else on top of it, although the satellite looked like there's nothing there. But I had to come by and see what I feel. I'm like literally a quarter of a mile away, and I know that I'm on a street that he drove on all the time. And I think it's even more interesting because he's not alive anymore. So literally, I was saying literally he could be anywhere. My phone keeps overheating and acting really strange. It's locking up. It has nothing to do with John Wayne Gacy's house. But I drove past the address. I gotta turn around. I drove past the address because I was trying to figure out why my phone was black, and it's because it keeps overheating. I don't know why, but I took it out of the case, so now it's sliding around. But I'm going back. I'm gonna go look. I'm not even sure where I'm going to post this because, you know, I have a Reborn channel, but this is kind of a big deal for me. So 8213 Somerdale Ave is the address. I'm at 8229, 8219, and 8207. So I gotta tell you, it looks like they totally did away with his address. I'm gonna try one more time to go by. People are like, what the hell are you sitting here for? Do something. I have to get out of the car for just a minute and see if I feel anything. Of course, feeling anything won't necessarily mean anything, because if I'm worked up in my head over it, I'll feel something anyway, because I'll have adrenaline and all of that. Now, the other thing is that Robert Ressler, who helped to create the Behavioral Sciences Unit at the FBI, and he obviously had a connection with Gacy. He didn't catch him, but he did interview him and meet with him, and Gacy requested him to be at his execution. Of course, he declined. He grew up like on the same road as John Wayne Gacy, just a couple of months apart. So I can't read the number on that house. That might be where it was, but I'm gonna go back by the block and I'll just show you guys the block. I'm gonna hold the camera up. It's a very strange road. Like turns. Alright. I'll see if I can turn the camera around while I'm filming, but if not, no, I can't. So I'm just going to turn it like this. So there's 8241, 8235, 8229, 8225, 8219, 8213. That's where his house used to be, guys. 8207, so it drops. That's where John Wayne Gacy's house was. They built a new building there, but this was his neighborhood. Pretty wild. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find where Robert Ressler's address was growing up. If I don't come back on, thanks for watching this. I decided not to get out of the car because there's people doing work on the houses around there and stuff, and I don't want to be filming somebody's random house. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna go back. That's the house. I'm gonna get out. Alright guys, I got out. I don't know. I'm not gonna stay long. I just want to stand here for a minute. Because I know that it seems weird to people. Or it would probably seem weird to people. I also don't know this part of town. Oop. I also don't know this part of town. So, to come by, see what it was like. I'd say that the most eerie thing about it is that it's just a normal place, and so you realize that putting the phone back in the case, you realize, you know, you hear it all the time, but you realize that it really is, they're just like your neighbors. And people have no idea that stuff's going on, and it's right under your nose. You know, it's a normal neighborhood. Yeah. So finally I went over. I was there. Alright, peace. Hey guys, I'm here with Charlie. I just wanted to say a couple things. I can't get the reflection out of these. I'm kind of crouched down on the chair here. I'm looking at her and not you guys. So, if you go way back in my channel, before any dolls, I don't know if I had my doll yet. My channel used to be called Rain, Fire, Water. And it started out as a hoop dance channel. There. It started out as a hoop dance channel. But once the Reborns came in, they kind of took over my life and my channel, and so I changed it to Random Reborns, and I changed my Instagram from Random Thoughts to Random Reborns. But if you go back, one of the first videos on there was talking about how my channel was going to be about reborns and also like sociopaths and the shadow world and like different things that I was interested in. It's probably not going to be the case now that it's a reborn channel, but it's still a big interest of mine. And so a good friend of mine actually asked a very valid question, like, why would I want to go to a serial killer's house? My answer, my number one answer was very easy, and that was in honor of all the boys that lost their lives there. Like, there were a lot of people that was their last place, you know, on Earth. So, girl. And so I feel like I needed to share that space too for them, with them. I don't know. There's a little bit about honoring them for sure. I'm very fascinated by the shadow side of life. The sort of like darker side of things. It's not that I glorify them or I, like them. I'm just drawn to it. And I think that, so my dominant Chinese element is water, and water is like, if you look at deep water, you see the surface, but there's like a lot that goes on beneath, and it can be still, it can be rushing. But the water element tends to do a lot of observation, a lot of thinking, but the water element also tends to be a little bit more intrigued with the darker side of life, the shadow side of life, and death, not death itself, but even more so life beyond death, triumph over death. And for me, I find like this, I feel compelled almost to look these things in the face, and a lot, like for a long time, and for a lot of my time. And I don't really know fully, what percentage of it is the fact that like fear and love can't occupy the same place, that like if I'm looking at something, it doesn't hold the same power over me. But I'm also fascinated by the bigger picture. I'm fascinated by the concepts of Tao, that like true reality exists beyond the dualistic nature of this plane of existence, and all of the wonderful things and all of the horrible things that happen are part of a dualistic nature, but that there is a truth beyond that. And I spend a lot of time musing, like, do we choose our life challenges before? Do we make agreements with each other to play certain rules, or not? Is it none of that? Is it random? Are there big good and evil forces? Like, cheers. I feel like I believe that we exist within the very fabric of the source of all life. And I believe that resides above, around, within anything and everything. So whether or not there are forces of darkness and this and that, I still believe that it's all operating underneath the umbrella of the one true source. That's my belief. God. But I believe that there is a truth to the Zen element, or the Taoist belief that there's life, that there's a reality with a capital R. But I try to make sense of that because the suffering and the bad, the horrible things that happen, and and also many of you know that my career goal was to be a profiler, criminal profiler with the FBI, and to work or to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist in hospital for the criminally insane. That started very, very, very young. I've even had friends share theories if there are such things as past lives, like what was mine? How was I affected by that? Why am I pulled to it? Is it related? I don't know. But that was my career interest, and, you know, I ended up choosing love, a series of love, you know, relationships and things that took me further from that path, so it didn't happen for me. But anyway, what did I feel? I felt weird standing out on the sidewalk. I felt like I didn't want to disrespect the people who lived in that neighborhood by, like, blatantly filming for long periods of time. I felt a little uneasy because I didn't know the neighborhood, and I know that things can go bad very quickly. I had already driven up and down the block 3 times, and my car is bright yellow. So I knew that I was standing out. But I felt an overwhelming sense of normalcy. And that was the freakiest part, I think, that it didn't look like a neighborhood where you would ever expect anything like that to happen. And more and more and more of that reality has sunk in over the last several years that, you know, statistically, you know, I've been around people like that. Statistically, I've at least walked past, but I know that I've caught eyes, met eyes with. But that was the biggest thing. And of course, sadness, thinking about, I could almost picture walking down that street, maybe being one of those guys that met their end there. I could almost picture being somebody finding out afterwards that this guy John that I knew did all of these things and I never knew, you know. I can almost picture what the streets looked like in the 70s. I guess I felt almost like a big picture connection to all of it, to all sides of it. And I felt pressure to get home because I had a lot to do, so it was kind of rushed. But it's not a tourist site. It's not a fantastical, you know, fan thing. You know, this wasn't like a tourist sightseeing. You know, it certainly wasn't a celebration of the man. Certainly not. But when you study this stuff, when you're connected to this stuff, when you're really interested in this stuff, when you hear these stories, when you ponder the psychology, and you learn about the victims, and for so many years, you know, there is something about going to the sites and to that site and seeing it for yourself. And I see that in a lot of the true crime books and stories that are the most impactful and the most powerful. They actually go. They go to the sites. They go to the sites where the victim lived. They go to the sites where the crimes happened. They go to the places and they look at it and they get a feeling for what it was like to be there and what happened and stuff. So, and in fact, I'm reading a book now. It's in the other room, but it's the woman who, she has passed away. She reignited the interest in the Golden State Killer. She actually came up with the name Golden State Killer for the East Area rapist, and he later became, he was the original Night Stalker in California, and it had been, 30 years almost, and she was like an at-home sleuth, and she dedicated every free moment to investigating on her own, and she felt compelled to go to the sites, go to the victims' homes, to go to the sites of the crimes and look at it and feel it, and I know that even cold case detectives do that. There's something about seeing it with your own eyes and getting the layout that can help you understand things. So he was caught recently, by the way, the Golden State Killer, if you haven't heard. She passed away, but her work was instrumental in making it happen. So they found who he was. Anyway, so that was it. So if you hung out, thank you so much. And feel free to leave me any comments below. But otherwise, we'll be back soon. I'm deciding if I'm bringing Charlie or Ronan with me to Michael's family's cottage house this weekend, and I might bring both. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, bye.